Welcome back to another reading and correcting, with me, Kindar, the Tiger Knights, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. These are where I read a chapter from one of my stories and correct it as I go. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. And if you are looking to support me, that is on my Patreon. Today we are doing chapter 41 of The World Which Is. I wake up without debuff, so that's a good way to start the day. Ellen is the only one in the bed, and there isn't another bedroll on the floor, so she was right. Brandon slept in someone's bed. The Addie sits oddly with me. As sits oddly with me as I wash using the wash basin. The water's cool, but it stays clean, so that's another good thing. It's going to take time to get used to the idea that daily showers are no longer a thing for me. I don't know if I could talk to someone just to get to share their bed. Just to share their bed. I mean, sleeping in a bed would be nice, but using sex to get that feels not right. As clean as I can get with a magical wash basin, I equip a set of clean clothing, which brings up the issue of how I'm going to clean my clothes. Somehow it didn't occur to me on the way to Toronto and while there, but I only have 2 clean sets left. I reach the dining room to the sound of hooting and clapping. I can't make out who there are cheering, but as that dies down, a violin plays and Silver sings. With a flash of white and sky turned red, the world they knew was dead. Through chaos high and ordered force, the lost travelers set forth. She's singing about the first days of the system. There are a lot of versions of the song, depending a lot on the kind of story they want told. Yeah. Okay. The singer. Well, okay. Let's write this. Singer wants to tell. Damn it again. None of the one I've heard are entirely wrong, but they aren't entirely right either, according to Bass and Grandpa Lewis, both of whom lived through those early days. Dad has nothing but bad things to say about those days, but he's the only one around me who feels like that. It was rough, they all admit that, but from what they experienced, more people came together than fell on each other. Grandpa Lewis and Bass traveled from somewhere way south, around a city that was called Houston, all the way to outside Calgary, where Grandpa Steph lived with Dad and his brother. They got to meet and help a lot of people on the way. People sing with her, but no one seems to follow the same verses, so I can't tell which one she's singing about. Brandon is at the bar holding the innkeeper's hand and leaning in close. A guy just a little older than I am steps before me as I reach it. How much for breakfast? I asked. Pretty much however you want to spend, he replies. We have the basic stuff all the way to stuff that'll give you travel buffs, fighting ones. We even have a mage meal. If you need your spell buffed, it's $5 for a basic breakfast. And I take the plate of steak, eggs, and sliced potato with a cheese sauce over it, along with a tall mug of apple juice to the first free table I find. I think Silver's singing about the eastbound adventure now. It's not about Grandpa. It's not about Grandpa Lewis directly, although once he met up with his family at the farm, they all got into Bass, along with the refugees who didn't want to stay in Calgary because of how cold it was, or so Bass likes to scoff, and headed east to find Grandmother. They didn't know if she'd survive, but, well, Grandmother's tough. No, Grandmother is tough. Brandon plops on the seat opposite mine with a platter similar to mine, but only more so. Eat up, he tells me, before digging in. Did he even pay for it? With money, I mean. Was it easy? I ask when he slows and between bites of my own. The food is good. Talking her into sharing her bed with you. I add at the raised eyebrow. You have you have a problem with that? He replies defensively. No, I just good, he says and goes back to eating. To eat. Goes back to eating. Okay, that could have, he sighs loudly. Look, Dennis, I wasn't judging, I swear. I hurried to say, I just don't think I could do it. Sleeping with someone to have a bed and a meal. He studies me. Then you don't. You need to get something. Outside the cities, out here, it's wild. There aren't any rules except those you decide to live by, and you need to accept not everyone is going to live by them. Okay. There aren't any rules except those you decide to live by, and you need to accept not everyone's going to live by them. He waits, and I nod. You aren't okay with sleeping with someone just for a bed and a night of fun? That's fine. I have no problem with it. And if I've shown them a good enough time, they're willing to give me breakfast. That's just a bonus. Don't you think sex should be special? It always is, he replies between bites. No, I mean, I know what you mean, Dennis. And if it has to be that kind of special for you, that's fine. I make it special each and every time. He is just that amazing, Ellen says derisively, sitting down with only a steaming cup in hand. And a good morning to you too, sis. What crawled up your ass and soured your mood? Remembering I'm traveling with you? You didn't sleep well? I ask, cutting off Brandon's reply. It's been a while since I traveled, she replies, and I'm reminded why I hadn't done it again. Brandon looks at her with a smirk, but he doesn't offer for her to go back home, which I'm surprised at, even if he did ask for her help. It feels like the kind of thing he'd offer, just as a barb. Is there something we can get you that's going to make it better? I offer, and she looks at me in surprise, then at Brandon. I can see her almost saying something to him, but she closes her mouth. That's considerate of you, Dennis, she says, but I'll get used to sleeping on a less than perfect bed, and hopefully Silver will earn stronger traveling spells, and all my aches will be gone with a song. Cheering explodes, and Ellen winces. Just remember, she needs to spend time practicing combat magic, Brendan says. I'm sure she can do both, Ellen replies. You're the only person I know with such a one-track mind. What's the plan for today? I ask Brandon because he's about to throw more snark. He pulls his attention off her and takes a breath. Walking. As soon as we're done eating, we get our stuff and head out. With Silver's travel buff, and not spending too much time sitting, I'm hoping we reach the split before all the inns are filled. I'll be good to go in a minute, Silver says, sitting. Her plate has 3 burritos and she devours one immediately. We can wait until you're done. I say, no need to rush, right? I'm not rushing, she replies, picking up the next one. I'm famished. I came down to eat, but when one of them saw my case, they begged me to play. She grins. Made nearly 300 in tips. Tips. Okay. In tips, though. By the time Brandon's done whistling, the burrito's gone. Then let's finish up and hit the road. We pass caravans stopped on the side of the road for nearly 2 hours after we leave the inn. Those who pushed through the night, Brendan explains, either because they didn't want to bother with the inn or because there was no space left. Then it's just us and the open road, and I take in the plain on each side. Brendan has to call to me a few times as my steps slow. The green is pale and vibrant all at the same time and goes on as far as I can see. There are hills and cups of trees, but it's mostly just grass. Then there's a distant herd grazing. This is so different from home, or the road to Toronto. Back home, it's farmland just about until the tree line all around. There are places with fields between, but nothing this vast. Grandpa Lewis often Often four? Often had that expression when he talked about the whole wide world. A distant look with a small smile on his face. I think I finally get it. This is beautiful in a completely different way than Court is. Brendan calls to me again, but like before, there's no impatience or anger in his tone. This time, when I reach them, he places an arm over my shoulder and leans in to whisper, "Welcome to the world of the explorers." And that concludes chapter 41 of The World Which Is. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to read the story, it is up for free on Royal Road. If you want to read ahead of that and support me in the process, that is on my Patreon. We're about 10 chapters ahead. And if you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. The links are in the notes. And with that, I shall wish you a good day.